How did I tear my pec? I'm going to get into the story of how it happened, and hopefully this will help somebody else not follow that same path. So let's see. I tore my pec about 3.5 to 4 years ago, something like that. And the way it happened was, of course, it was a chest day. I hate to even talk about it, honestly. It was it was a terrible day, but anyways, it was chest day. I felt like going heavy. I can't say that I particularly felt good. I was definitely dehydrated that day. I remember that. My shoulders were pretty sore. I had been doing a lot of plate raises. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I had been doing a lot of plate raises, so my front delts were kind of, for the most part, smoked a little bit going into it, a little bit sore. I was doing them every other day. So anyhow, flat bench, barbell bench press. It was me. I had a partner I was working out with, a young buck. That was probably my number one mistake. I hadn't been working out consistently that long. Nutrition wasn't on point like it should be. I always said that, it's more important to get your nutrition right than it is to even work out. If you're not on point for hydration and nutrition for the day, then you probably shouldn't do it. But I didn't follow my own advice that day. Got in there, started out doing pyramids, worked up pretty heavy, pretty fast. I think by the fourth or fifth set, I was at around 355 pounds, which wasn't a lot of weight for me. I mean, I was still more than capable of bench pressing 400 pounds, high 300s for reps. So a lot of the stories you hear or have seen, I've seen them. I can't watch them. I see where such and such tears pec or this and that, but I can't watch that crap. I haven't experienced it. I mean, it literally hurts me. I can feel the pain through their pain in that exact moment. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible injury. But so put you there. It was a normal day. I was kind of dehydrated. Didn't have my nutrition on point for the day. It was a Monday following a vacation. I think we went to Disney World the previous week, and I was still kind of recouping from that, all the walking and stuff. So I start pyramiding up. I don't remember the exact pyramid scheme, but I remember getting to about 355 pounds. That was going to be my top set. Plan was to do it as many times as possible, going for my top set. So I remember I got it 3 or 4 times, right? And these were good reps. These were, shoulders back, controlled reps. Got it. And I wasn't trying to push. In my mind, I wasn't trying to push to failure, right? I was trying to stay 1 rep from failure. And I probably took it a little further than that, to be honest with you. So 355, I push it 1, 2, 3 clean reps, right? So I lock my arms, and I was going to re-rack it because I always believed in breaking my own weight, racking my own weight. I felt like if you couldn't break it, as coming from a power lifter background, if you couldn't break it, then you shouldn't be lifting it. That's how I felt. So that carried on through the vast majority of my lifting life. So I get to rep 3. I push it up. It goes up. It's not super fast, but I could tell that was all I had without a struggle, right? I knew form was going to break. I knew I was going to really have to drive with my legs to get it up. And my sparring partner, the young buck I was talking about, he was much smaller guy. He was I think he was benching max was around 225-ish. So I go all the way up, lock my arms. I'm about to rack it. He says, "Hey man, you got one more. Let's go." So kind of let my ego take over for a moment there, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I do have one more. So I unlocked my arms, squared back off. Like I said, at this point I've been lifting for 20 years. I knew that I could get it. I knew that I couldn't rely on him to help me if I couldn't get it situationally. And I've been there before where the weight had to be taken off of either side. I ended up tweaking my back one time because of that. One of the guys snatched off 3 or 4 plates off one side, and I figured we were going to go plate for plate. Anyways, tweaked my back where I had myself balanced, and pretty much screwed my back. I felt like it bulged the disc, so I did not want that, right? So I felt like I could get it. I just needed to be able to. I needed to come down a little bit faster, and I needed to just drive hard at the bottom. Like, that was my thought process, right? So I said, okay, cool. I take a deep breath, come down way too fast. I come down fast, and then at the bottom, I just drove with everything I had, right? As soon as it comes down, I drove, weight goes up 2 or 3 inches, and then I feel this loss of torque is how I would put it. I feel a loss of torque, and I hear this ungodly sound. Now, I had on headphones, full blast, as loud as it would go, and I feel this weird loss of torque in my right side, and then I swear it sounds like if you were to grab, like, say, a chicken and just rip its leg off, like a raw chicken. If you ever had a whole raw chicken or something along those lines, and you just snatch a leg off or a wing off, that tearing sound. Well, not only did I feel that, but I heard that over the music. So I drive, I get all this goes on, that sound, that feeling, and that side just stops, right? So my left side kept pushing, that side stops, and I was like, oh God. Well, apparently my workout partner heard it too. The weight comes down on that side, sets on me, and he's like, push, 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 push. Me not knowing what's happening, I gotta go to push, and there's this just immense, intense burning on that side. So I set it on me, I couldn't push it. He ends up, again, sliding all the plates off the one side entirely. Well, this time the weight just kind of flipped off of me, right? Stood up, and massive amount of burning pain through my right side of my chest. Ironically, I was at work. I had went to work out during my 1 hour lunch period, which was another failure. I mean, to be working and to think that I'm just going to go up unprepared to work out, and I mean, it was just a bad situation all the way around. So I get up. I know that there's a major problem, but I didn't know to what degree. I had honestly never thought about tearing a pec. I had never heard about tearing a pec. I had never nothing. I knew I pulled a muscle, didn't know how bad it was. Immediately went to the bathroom, checked myself out, took my shirt off. At that time, I mean, I could barely pick my arm up, but there was no swelling at that point. No, nothing. Just a lot of burning. And I had felt similar in my rotator cuffs over the years and kind of rehabbed them, and it wasn't a problem. But so I didn't know what to do. So worked the rest of the day in pain beyond belief, and then I decided on my way home to go to the urgent care to get it checked out, just to be safe. Another issue I was having on this very same day is today, the day I tore my pec, just happened to be my son's birthday. I don't remember how old he was turning. Maybe his 10th birthday or something like that. But anyways, it was his 10th birthday. We had plans that afternoon. So I had the pressure of that. So the whole rest of the day at work, I was thinking to myself, how stupid am I? How selfish am I? I go up here and do this stupid heavy bench press, and it's my son's birthday. So now I've got to go to the doctor because I'm scared, I'm paranoid. I'm like, I don't think my lifting career is over by any means, but I know that I'm hurt really bad, and who knows how long it'll take to recover from it. So I tell the wife, which was not a hard conversation, though. She's thinking, what a dumbass. Now you're going to have to be sent to urgent care. You're going to ruin our son's birthday, essentially. So there was a lot of pressure on me. So I go to urgent care, finally see a nurse practitioner, and he takes me in the little room, and he's like, all right, stick your arms out. I tell him what happened, and he's applying pressure. He's saying, bring your arms together, and he's putting pressure, and I'm like, I can't. It hurts too bad. And he's like, well, I don't see any obvious deformities. He's like, I can see your muscles. He's like, you look fine. There's no bruising. There's nothing like that. He's like, our MRI is down for the day. He's like, so I can't do an MRI to check specifically. He said, but just looking at you and assessing you, he's like, you definitely tore a muscle. He's like, I don't think it's anything severe, but, we'll give you a referral to an orthopedic just in case you want to go get it checked. Well, in my mind, I was thinking, whew, thank God, I'm good. I'm good. And at this point, again, I know nothing about a torn pec. Never even looked it up. Never saw anything about it. No clue. So I'm thinking, all right, cool, we're good. He gives me some pills for inflammation, and I was like, okay, whew, thank God. Well, a few days later, I can't say that the pain increased, but it was there. Could barely move my arm. Definitely a lot of holding my right arm up to try to not put any kind of movement or anything on that pec. A few days later, I started getting this bruise, but it was weird because it was like mid bicep, and it wasn't like intense. It started out like a slow bruise. It was turning yellow, and then it turned, and we're talking about a dot the size of probably a quarter when it first started. So this bruise appears. Obviously, I have pain, no noticeable swelling, couldn't really squeeze that side at all. I could still jump the muscle or tense it, but it hurt when I did it, so I tried not to do it. So, but as the days progressed, day by day, this quarter-size mid-bicep bruise started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it eventually engulfed my whole bicep area. By this point, I had been looking up pec tears, and I would see these guys whose whole chest would just turn purple and black and deep in their armpit and area and all this stuff. So I'm thinking, man, did I tear my bicep on the bench press? I couldn't figure it out. And we'll fast forward. It ended up getting horrible, pitch black, but nothing deep in my armpit crease. Nothing ever in my chest area. Never it entered there. It was localized to my bicep area. Time went on. I never went back. I looked into the surgery. When I say looked into, I did some online research. And from what I gathered, it was a real shitty rehab, a fairly invasive surgery that I didn't really want no part of. And so I just moved on, right? I just moved on. Fast forward through the healing process, which took a while. Bruising went down after several months, and I began to rehab it back. From that point, I don't want this to be too long of a video. I'll get into how I rehabbed it back and how I made it to where I am today without surgery. And then, obviously I still have some issues with the torn pec tendon because it's not just a torn pec muscle. I actually ripped the tendon off. I can talk more about how I discovered that and how I kind of self-assessed how bad it actually is and how I recovered from it to still be a competitive bodybuilder, coming in top 5 in my competitions. So, but that's the story of how I tore my pec. What I would change differently, what I would do different or change is that with heavyweight relative to your strength level, if everything is not perfect, don't try to push it. If you get underweight that you can't control down and control up, there's a high probability you're going to snap some stuff, especially in the chest, right? So as long as That's why hypertrophy is king. So if you can't hit it 10 times, probably shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I turned to bodybuilding. And the ironic thing about the whole situation is I would have never in a million years ever got into bodybuilding had it not been for the pec tear. I would have never considered it. Never. And also at the same time, I would have never got into bodybuilding if I hadn't torn my pec. But in bodybuilding, I'll never be able to be what I could have been if I didn't have this torn pec. So, I mean, life's a real bitch sometimes. I discovered something through failure that I love, that I'm passionate about, that allowed me to take it to the next level. But because of the failure that took me to finding this place of passion and drive and a reason to keep going, I can't take it to the extreme. I mean, my physique is forever changed. So I just find that to be one of the craziest things ever. Like, that's what I go to sleep thinking about sometimes is, man, I love this. I'm in the best shape of my life. But the reason why I found it is the exact same reason why I can't take it to the extreme. So, that's that. That is the story of how I tore my pec. And hopefully some of you can take something from this. At the end of the day, you can't lift a weight that you can't lift cleanly controlled. If you can't lift it without cheating or without taking the tension off of the muscle that you're trying to target, and you have to drive with your whole body, probably risking tearing something, no matter your age, no matter the exercise. It's not limited to chest tears. We're talking about bicep tears, quad tears, or any other muscle that you can think about. If you get that muscle in a fully stretched position and drive hard with a lot of tension against it from both angles, you've got the weight and then you've got your drive, the chances of snapping a tendon are there. So just think about that. Appreciate you listening. Subscribe if you want to hear more like this, and I will talk at you on the next one.